Back to 5-minute games. Let's see what we can do. All right. Not a werewolf, a werepuppy. Oh, the French. Easy. I already know exactly what I'm going to do. Whoa. Snork up here. Always a rook to the middle. Okay, we can't go there, so going to need bishop out here. F6. It's kind of weird. I guess we're going here. Bishop there. I mean, I guess he's got to take that way. Let's go here just for now. It's a move we know we want to do, so maybe it's fine. I'm taking because I need to play this move, and I don't think I could play this with the bishop hanging there. Bishop back. This is a very weird game. I feel like I'm getting attacked all of a sudden. Let's trade. Queen out. We want the rook over into the middle. All right. We take. Knight here. What comes next? Obviously, we'd like a trade, but it's not that easy to achieve. Okay, let's see. Our knights don't really have anywhere to go, so I feel like I'm almost in RPM territory over here. We'll go with these. Yeah, the knight's saving the day, but the knight's also supposed to be there. So I don't feel like I'm lucky or anything, you know? It's like, knight's supposed to be there. What to do? I mean, he's attacking a pawn that I can't even move my my knight because I needed to defend mate. Very, very annoying. I feel like at this point, the pawn is all I've got. So move in the center that does defend. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hang on to it for the entire game, though. Okay, what? That is not the move I wanted to see. I missed that. I thought he was attacking this, but this honestly looks more dangerous, right? Queen h6. God damn. Well, he's threatening checkmate, so I almost have to what, like move my king or something? Yeah, I got nothing to do here. Knight here. Gotta move the queen again. So this we can bring our knight back, I guess. That's something. I feel like if I go here, the rook can also make it there. Maybe this? Well, I don't know if there was a defense to that. You're telling me that this came from the French defense? The French, right? You're serious about that? This is the French defense? The exchange French? I got that right? Well, I don't know where he could have come up with this great idea. How did he do this against the French? What a genius setup. Half your games against the French, Edwig? It is a famous setup, or at least getting there. Because it features this knight, which is a really strange thing to keep doing at, 1800 ELO and beyond. But it really has to do with this knight e7 move. And g4 is just a powerful and annoying move. It looks like we've got it covered, but nobody likes an open H file. Well, we've never seen that before, so chalk it up to a statistical anomaly. Let's play e4. Knight f3. I feel like we've seen this, especially the 4 knights, like over and over and over again. Very, very common. For us, at least. Okay. Bishop out. Castle. Snork up. Bishop, rooks. Oh, okay. We have a central pawn move. Oh, okay. Rooks to the middle. Go me. Okay. Pawns hit. Let's save that. Time to bring the king to the middle. Trades. Now, we actually haven't had this endgame before, but I guess we could talk about this. Same color bishops. Everybody's happy if the pawns are on the squares that are not their bishop's color, because then they can be attacked. So it's okay to have, we can play g3, it's not illegal, but you just don't want pawns to get stuck on those squares. So for example, I would say b4 is a bad move, very bad, because it could get stuck there. Whereas I would say a3 is still playable because it can still go to a4. f4, it'll never get stuck there because there's no pawn that black has that can make it remain on f4. So f4 is probably the only dark square I would really consider. And then every other move that you make on a dark square, like h4, you better be sure you can play h5 because you don't want to get stuck on h4. And that's pretty much all I can say about these pawns, or this endgame rather. But black's already got it set up perfectly. See this? After g6, black's perfection. And look at this. h5, we can play g4, but black's also setting the pawns up correctly. Definitely. Oh, I was going to say we're definitely going to see G6, but we don't. We see G5. Based on what we just said, I think you'll be able to tell that this move is quite bad. Not only is it nice for us to have a protected pass pawn, but when you see this, it just means for the rest of the game, it's a pawn I can attack. Now, obviously, he can defend it, but the fact that it's a pawn that we can attack is very comfortable. It just means that we can always attack, he always has to defend, whereas my pawns, I don't have to worry about them. So I would say that was a mistake, definitely. Not a game-losing mistake, but just a not what you're supposed to do mistake. Bishop goes back. I would say for the most part, pawns on light squares are still reasonable moves. We have this to force the king back, which is pretty nice, but mainly I'm just going to be hanging around that pawn. Again, I don't want to play that. If black puts a pawn on a dark square, again, that would be another mistake. The pawns are correct right now, and the reason that this is not a mistake is it can always go to a light square, right? There's no big concern. Stay central here. Okay, so we're gonna move our bishop, and I'd actually like to check the king if it goes back in the center. So I'm going to be trying to do that. Now, what would be a decent move for black? B5 and C4, more light squares. What would be a bad move for black? Maybe D4, A5, these sorts of moves. So we see the bishop go here. Makes a lot of sense if you ask me. I would consider this. C3 is fine, but yeah, C3, B4, once again, I'm not a fan of. So in this case, I'll play C4, try to get myself a central square, and we are moderately successful. So yes, there's a pass pawn here, but I've got one as well, and I like that these pawns are all getting on dark squares slowly. Let's see if we can make use of that at all. Maybe we're threatening to move some pawns up here. He goes bishop there. I definitely like b4. It is a pawn on a dark square, but I think you can understand it's not going to be fixed there. So seems like a fine move. So we've got this one, and then we've also got a5, which is a pawn on a dark square, but clearly there's going to be a trade. The only way there's not a trade is if b5 happens. And if b5 happens, we take and we have a pass pawn all the way over here, which seems like it would be pretty tough to deal with. So putting those two things together, one of these two pawn moves is going to be very good. I particularly like a5. Notice how none of my pawns are any concern. I can sit here and make a draw in my sleep. Like I can shuffle the bishop. It's just a non-issue. So I only do this because I'm comfortable with this, because I get a pass pawn. But otherwise, I would say this is a sketchy move to play. Because imagine this pawn was back here and he played b5. I'm just putting my pawn on a dark square for no reason. But I'm only doing it because I know that there's going to be a trade that happens. And okay, we have this pawn to target. We have maybe this pawn to target. We have a pass pawn. I still have to watch out for this. Okay, goes like that. Makes sense. So if we attack this pawn, he's got to defend it in a funny way. It doesn't mean that his move is bad, but he does have to put the bishop on probably an awkward square. So does that do anything for us? I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm just going to make a waiting move. And what did our guy do? He put a pawn on a dark square. I don't think I need to explain. See how every single one of his pawns is on dark square now? He's going to lose. It just doesn't matter. Every single one of my pawns is unattackable. Every single one of his pawns is. So it's going to be a very easy win here. just gonna collect my pawn and go back. Now he's moving here. Maybe we can collect. I'm just taking everything. There's nothing I'm not taking at this point. We can take this one, but obviously with the cheeky threats there, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. Gonna get out of that nasty threat. Great idea by him. I think at this point, we don't need to be instructive about the bishops. I feel like we've already shown a pretty good endgame. So, hopefully. Yes, push. Secure. Oh. Oh, shit. Okay. Just kidding. One of these will queen, right? Surely. Okay. Oh, okay. We're going the other way here. All right, and we've got the last 3 moves. Is it enough? Yes, it is. Again, the pattern. Always coming in handy. 0.1 once again. I mean, we just tried our pattern down here. Didn't quite work. Okay, tried our pattern on the other square. And it worked. There was no guarantee that it would. So there's no witchcraft here. He could have made a draw. But it just happens most of the time that your opponent doesn't know what you're trying to do. So you're going to be successful without too much trouble. So the end game, he had it all set up. This guy was like on genius mode. Imagine that he had left his pawn on light square here and just moved his bishop for the rest of the game. Could we ever do anything? Could we ever? How would we make progress here? The only way I'm winning this game is if he does something for me. And check out all these pawns. They could all be on light squares. Watch every single one of them go to a dark square. It starts with this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. He takes, then this one. So every single pawn moved to a dark square. Every single one of my pawns moves to a light square. It's that simple. Bishop and knight endgames, bishop and bishop endgames. You just don't want to be the guy that has a bunch of pawns that can be attacked. Like he's stuck defending every single one of these pawns instead of doing anything offensive. So it's very easy to win these. And even if you don't win it, I'm not saying you're going to win it every time, but you certainly shouldn't lose it. If you put your pawns all like this, how can you possibly lose? Like I could just literally move my bishop back and forth. I'm not going to lose. We do hit 1800 again. We've already been there. Don't tell anyone. Sornik, thanks for the 100 bits. All right. This guy has a username with 2025 in it. Usually the chess.com usernames are the year they're born. So the 2025 is scary. Like that'll really bother people 6-7 years from now when he's 1800 and beating people, and they see the year 2025. They're like, holy, this guy's insane. Okay, we want to get the knight. We're just waiting to take back. We play knight, bishop, and castle. Easy. And remember these pieces. The knight wants to go here, and the bishop we've been putting here. Here comes our knight, our rook. We can snork up here. All these moves feel like moves that we can play like very, very quickly. Goes knight to the side of the board. Often a useful move is a6, but knight into the middle, especially because he just put the knight to the side. I can't lie. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm going to go here. Okay, he offers a trade. We can take it and maybe bring the other knight in. Nice and easy. Okay. Start with this. Just because it is a knight move in the center, gaining some time. But yeah, we'll probably take here. Queen back. Yeah, so let's take this one. Trade, trade, trade. Speaking of trades, I got another one for you. And maybe we can push the center pawns here as well. Okay. More trades, more trades. Take the center. Looks pretty good. We do want to, like, yeah, move this queen up and bring the rook over. Okay, what's going on here? We'll match RPM, RPM. Let's see what he's going to do here. Goes like that. Rook into the center. Might play this next. It's feels like the most natural next move. Oh. Okay, bishop's attacked, and I guess this is behind it, so try to defend. Kind of set this whole thing up, didn't he? Felt so natural to defend the bishop that way, but now I feel like the guy's been planning it the whole time. Jeez, we're all tied up here. Yeah, I don't know. Now we're going to lose. It feels like we're almost going to lose both of them. So I mean, this is just brutal, guys. Ugh. Oh man. Okay, now we lose this as well. There's nothing we could do about that pin. Like, once it was there, we were stuck with it. D4, probably the only move that I've got in the tank here. My position is already so bad that I think at this point I kind of have to play D4 because what the hell else are we going to do, you know? Queen up. Yeah, we ain't got much here, do we? And what can we do? I guess keep sending blue skies. This doesn't look very easy to play. I need to somehow win this pawn, or this bishop is basically trapped. Man, this bishop is so bad. Pawn for me. Pawn for me. Just an innocent guy looking for a center pawn. Why not f5, says Eddie. f5 would certainly be a move. f5, interesting. General Eddie, I don't like to damage the structure around the king. That's the thing. All right, let's move the queen here. We want to keep the piece on the board as well, right? So, I guess tough. I guess we'll just go back to the center. Well, seems like we'll just have to take here. He's taking a long time to recapture a piece. Interesting stuff here. Oh, and would you look at that? With our hawk-like vision, we're able to find a nice fork here. Okay, we can take that. Can do, can do. Now, can we trade queens, please? Can we trade queens? Please. This is not easy. Okay, we gotta hide our king. I'm gonna have to start pre-moving here, dude. Check. Oh, queen trade. Let's go. RPM. Shoot. RPM, RPM. Let's go, let's go. Oh, man. Wait, he's going back and forth. Yes! He's going back and forth. Point one again. Your boy gets it done. That's why they call me Mr. Point One. Let's go. Oof. He was going back and forth. We decided to use it against him there. We were lower on time. We take those. Hey, we don't need any speculation here, Eddie. Yeah, none of that. None of that. Yep, ending the game with point one is definitely a habit. Mr. Point One gets it done. To the next one we go. We're still at 1800, you know? We're still at 1800. Okay. Oh, not many people actually take that, so that's unusual. Now, remember, what setup do we want here, right? We want our bishop here, but we don't want the knight there, right? We want the pawn here so the knight can go here. This makes more sense. This is what we've been trying to get the entire time. The pawn here, the knight here. Like this. Obviously, still want to snork up here. Let's bring the queen in. Okay. Let's bring the knight. Knight to a5. Kind of a weird move. So he's attacking this pawn, but I think we can just defend it. Could move our knight maybe to defend that. I don't know what the best move is, but I'll move the knight and see what happens. Okay. Plays knight e5. Well, definitely looks like a capture. I don't know. Knight looks pretty menacing in the middle of the board here. Now our knight wants to move. Knight here is an issue. We just talked about, I mean, the whole reason we moved it was because of that. So I suppose we don't want to play there. Knight takes e5. Yeah, knight d7 just sucks. We lose this pawn, we lose everything. So knight g4 is really the next idea. Okay, we can take a center pawn here. Okay, rook's hit. Can hit the knight. Let's trade some queens here. I usually like to avoid trades when we're down, like, you know, a piece or something meaningful, but a pawn doesn't seem that bad. All right, let's take. Push the center pawn. Let's go. Let's go. Attack some pawns. Oh, okay. He's he's attacking me. Didn't expect that. We have our king is safe here, so not concerned by that. This looks this looks a little tough. Not exactly the game we were hoping to have. Okay, we're down a pawn here, clearly. Rook back. Let's bring our rooks down. Okay, let's bring the rook back. I mean, I can't lose this pawn, and I don't really have any other threats to make there. Maybe this one. Our rook is doing a defensive job. This means we pretty much are stuck defending, but you know, we have an idea here. That's something. Goes like that. Well, let's say we do our check. Man, can't catch a break here. Can't catch a break here. Very nice move there. Again, no idea how to attack this pawn now. Maybe like that. I guess we have to come back. This guy's playing well, man. I feel like every idea I have, he has an answer for it. And we're just getting lower and lower on time. I don't even know what to do next. I have to defend this, so I'm sitting here waiting. Check, I guess. Okay, this is what I thought we were doing. Check and take, but he did have the option to bring the rook back. Let's do this. Maybe into the middle. Okay, let's take that. Oof, this is not comfortable. I feel like I have to go try to collect this pawn here. Brutal. This guy played the endgame pretty well. I feel like I'm at the point where I'm gonna start pre-moving or something. Like, check, check, check. Okay. We check forever, surely. Oh, we're getting killed. This guy's a demon. Wow. Nice game. Felt like we were down a pawn and just... there's nothing we could do. Yeah, this H pawn dropped. It's like I've never really played someone that's had a brain in the endgame. Now maybe we could have made a draw by holding steady there. Yeah, he didn't play perfect. He had an extra pawn, he blundered it away. But still, I'd say he played it pretty well. The endgame lasted a long time, right? This is only move 25. The game ended on move 75. So, pretty impressive. Hello, BJH. Habits indeed. Hello, BJH. We move quick here. I think it would have been the same thing, Wu, right? I would have been defending the pawn laterally on a7 or on a6. I don't really think there was a strong difference. Gotta hand it to the guy. Definitely deserved the dub there. E4. That's it, just E4. All right, pack it up. We're playing Shaquille Oatmeal. It's a nice username. Why does it have 22 in it? Did everyone use this same username? Got to move it quickly. No one will believe it otherwise. Knight c6. In with d4. Got to make sure we're taking the center. All right. We've given him ample opportunity. I'll give you one more chance, Shaquille. I'm going to snork up, but I'm telling you, this one's on you, bud. Okay. He never took our bait, which means we can continue with the move that we know we're supposed to play, which is the pawn up. Then we can improve our bishop. He plays a6. Well, he's going to RPM. We're going to RPM. We want to play this, maybe even c4 and our knight into c3. I'll just put our pieces like this. Knight, bishop, rook. Okay, we'll definitely trade. Bishop still hitting the center, I guess. Okay. You know I hate having the bishop here, but I mean, there's no way I could just lose it, right? I don't know what's happening here. Bring the rook, try to complete our habits. We're snorked up, but I'm hating this bishop here. Yeah, the thing is, if this persists, we're in trouble, because that's a problem. If we go here and it's like temporary, like, I don't know, we'll fix it in a couple moves, that's fine. But it's looking rather permanent the way that we have it right now. Shaquille is doing a good job. Is my opponent here? He's here. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna complete the habits. Okay, all of a sudden, it seems like he may have just left the computer and come back, because all of a sudden he's here and he's playing. Okay, we got the rooks in the middle. What's next? How can I unclog this snork? Hella annoying. I don't know. Tough. You double the rooks. Oh, okay. He hit me with that move quick. Oh man, this bishop is so bad. Guys, we might have to call a red alert here on this bishop. Might need to repurpose it. It's a bit of a strange move there. Okay, never mind. Take back what I said. Emergency's off. Bishop's great. No issues. Okay, all good here. All good here, and all right, we'll just continue with doubling the rooks. Maybe bring the king up. Oh, let's take that. Yes, definitely take. Let's guard our pawn here. Guys, bishop against knight. Everybody with me? Bishop and knight. Bishop, dark square. Pawns, light square. Oh my goodness, how are we so good at this? Knight into the middle. Yeah, we'd love to trade the rooks. Exactly right. If we could trade all these rooks off, we'd be pretty happy. If we could just play a pure knight and bishop endgame. Okay, we're attacking this pawn here. It's weird he didn't defend that, but I'll go ahead and take it. Thank you very much. Our opponent has been very friendly this game, and as I say that, probably the friendliest just resigns. I just don't get that. Nothing about this game made sense. Guy played f3, traded queens, gave away his knight, fixed my bishop, lost the pawn, resigned. I mean, it can't be this easy. Pawn e4. Oh, okay. Oh. Is this the French or is this the Caro-Kann? I don't really know. I'm just going to take that. Remember, the knight doesn't go there. Right? It's important that the pawn goes there. Whoa. What the hell? Rook into the middle immediately. When I see someone hanging out too long in the center, got to immediately challenge that. All right, so yeah, we just remember that doesn't, let's snork up. We remember the pawn goes here. Where does this bishop go? It can't go there. Bishop here is not really, I mean, yeah, I think we have to just go here. I mean, it doesn't pin anything. There's just no point in putting it there. So, oh, okay, I'll definitely take that. Bring our knight, queen, rook. All the pieces in. This looks fine. There we go. Okay, we've got all the pieces here. I think it's time to just put the knight into the middle of the board and back it up with our other knight. Now, are you already thinking it? This bishop, no good. These pawns, same color. That's what we're talking about here. That piece is a piece I would basically never be interested in trading for, right? Just no purpose, no point. We do not need to take that piece. It's probably the worst piece on the board. So there's just, it offers me nothing. We have two knights that want to be on the same square, and we have a trade in front of us, so sure. Pushes the pawn up. Not too sure what we want to do here, but doubling on the file makes some sense. Maybe we can do that like this. So both of his bishops are trapped. Isn't this a funny looking position? We're just doubling in the center, following good habits. Meanwhile, our opponent is just blundering things. We're snorked up. We got a nice easy fork here. We got our rooks doubled in the middle. I mean, come on. It's not even close here, guys. It's not even competitive. No, who am I playing right now? Send this guy back down to the minor leagues. Oh, come on here. Get him out of here. No, that was not his game. But what did we start to do? We started to understand weak pawns, right? What does this say on the screen? E6, weak pawn. We can target it. It can't be defended. It also can't move. Those are great pawns to target. And if it's on a semi-open file, like open for you, you don't have any pawns there, perfect. Not only do you want to put pressure on the pawn, but most importantly, you must control the square in front of it. You have to. It's very important. Even though the pawn on e6 is the target, you need to control the square in front of it. Otherwise, there's no guarantee. You could put all your firepower on this and then it just moves forward. That wouldn't be a very good way to do it. Theo, thanks for the 59 months. Cheers, Theo. Theo Gantos, 2. Coming up to 5 years together. So the weak pawns are key. We control the square in front. And we did exactly that with our moves here. Jump in. And most importantly, it would be ideal if we didn't take with a pawn. So taking with a piece every time means that that pawn stays weak. Whereas taking with a pawn means it's not that weak anymore, because how do I attack it? So I want to occupy the square in front of a weak pawn with a piece. Let's go. Pawn into the middle. We're seeing a lot of this move, and we're seeing a lot of this move. There are certain openings that I have come to attribute to a certain rating range. And the high 17s, low 1800s, it's the French. We're snorking up, we're taking, we're castling. Let's get a pin in. Oh, okay, let's take. Well, we're taking because we're able to ruin the pawns, so that looks pretty nice. We got our good pawn structure, we got our knight, bringing our rook to the middle. Nice. And it's an endgame, so obviously we do want to bring our king in. Okay, bishop's hitting the knight. Let's move that. Okay, knight's coming in. Let's just take that here. All right, takes. Bring the rook over. Ooh, so we've actually seen this before. We really don't want to fix the pawns, so would really like to avoid that. Let's see if we can. In terms of knight and bishop, these pawns are not ideal. I think we know that because the bishop. But this is what I mean. You're not always gonna get to a position where the pawns are set up perfectly. Right? It's not always going to be the case. So let's see what we can do here. Bishop back. We generally want the pawns on light squares. This one is fine because we can always go to a light square later. And can we attack this rook in any way? I'm actually not really seeing it here. We could like find a way to get our king like around the rook like that, but he's also going to be leaving the rook there happily. Okay, he's bringing that that pawn up here. Okay. Well, we've got our king in the middle. We're in an endgame. Let's talk pawns. These are just double isolated pawns. I mean, this is what they're called. Double isolated pawns usually has an important mandate, which is control the square in front of them. F5. So if we were able to control F5, we would have a pretty good position. For example, if black on the last turn had played pawn F5, it feels like that would be a pretty decent move. It's on a light square, so it lines up with its bishop. Right now, we could probably force that pawn to be on a dark square, which would make a bit more sense for us. So I think we should leave the pawns here and we should focus on controlling that square, which means I'm loving this. If I see pawns like that, my first thought is cement the knight on this square. So I think we've done a great job with this. Now we need to think about our pawns. We probably want them to look like this. I'm actually dying here because I wish he would exchange with me, and it's not that easy to do. Like, I can't force him to do it. I'm hoping that he just wakes up and takes me, but there's nothing I can do about that. I wish. So, how do we continue here? I'll put my rook maybe on this square here, just to free my king up. Maybe I can move this way, or maybe up here. But our knight looks good. It's well situated. A move that I would avoid here, a3. Why? It's just putting upon a dark square for no reason. No reason at all. And he brings the bishop back. But notice how the bishop doesn't really have any squares. Our knight's doing a fantastic job there. Now, we still have these pawns here. They're a little bit annoying. Let's see what happens if we try to play b3, get our pawns on light squares. Because these are the only pawns that are kind of no good. If I'm playing against the bishop, crucially, you're going to see me play king takes. Looks a little weird, doesn't it? We're not capturing towards the center. But I really don't want a situation where my opponent has a pass pawn over there. So, pawn on a light square. Why did I not push it to a3? That would be a huge regret right now. And he decides to take. Okay, yes, we can take this way. In this particular example, I definitely will. But even the knight takes and g4 and putting the knight back looks great. But we're going to take this way. We're going to support the knight with our two pawns, right? And notice how the pawns are all starting to go on light squares, and the only ones that aren't soon will. At least that's our plan. We'll try to do that. Let's play g4. So just, yeah, these pawns can't be touched now, right? Okay, he's kind of moving back and forth. Let's see if we can continue to do this. c4. He plays b4. My first thought is, are all your pieces trapped now? I think everything's trapped. Everything's stuck. Right? We can just do whatever we want now. We can do whatever we want now. We have the freedom. We can sit and let the clock run. That's right. Or more impressively, we could try to take his bishop. But yeah, notice how these pawns just dictated the entire game. We put the piece in front, and yeah, the pawns are just so weak and so bad that there's no discussion for the rest of the game. Like, the entire thing is about those pawns. All right. We do have a pass pawn here. We want to cover this, take that. Guy didn't even make me sweat there. Didn't even make me sweat. Friendly. But I mean, let's be real here. These pawns, that square, right? When I see a certain pawn weakness, I immediately draw into a certain square. What happened last time? We had the pawn weaknesses. Where did we go? Square in front of it. almost always if there's a pawn weakness, it's the square in front of it you want to be on. I'm not looking to put my knight on g4 and attack this pawn. Nobody cares about that. But my knight on f5, it can't be touched by any pawn. It can't be touched by the bishop. And if it's attacked by the king, I can just support it. And it just stays there forever. A very, very solid piece. So we slowly made that happen, brought the king to the middle and said, okay, let's put the knight there. Then let's work on these 3 pawns that were all on dark squares. And we slowly transformed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns onto light squares, light squares, light squares, light squares. And then eventually later we could have put that on a light square. So our pawns were not set up. Hopefully this was a better example. Our pawns were not set up in a good way. They were on dark squares and the guy had a dark square bishop. So we had to be careful. But just because they start that way doesn't mean they have to end up that way. We put our knight on a great square. And then we always had in our mind that, okay, the guy's a dark square bishop. Our pawns should be on light squares. So we just made it happen. What do we got here? E4, it's going to be E5 from us. The knight comes out, of course, and we wait and see which one's more common. What can I say for sure? 1800 plus, Ruy Lopez, way more common. It was non-stop bishop c4 until a certain elo, and yes, let's make sure to protect this pawn. It's not the best move, but I can't have us losing. I can't have us losing that pawn in the opening every single time. So this will be a little bit better. Rook there. Let's just get castled. I like to throw this one in just to see what he's up to, and we can snork up as well. When this happens, I've basically been doing the same thing every time, and unless we get absolutely dominated, I'll just stick with it. Take in the center, control the center with d5. I gotta have some claim to it, and then put my knight in the middle. Okay, comes out with his knight there. We can trade that, sure. We were about to lose a pawn, so yeah. And then bring the bishop out. It's important. We want a couple pieces in like that. Okay, bishop there. Definitely one we can take. I don't mind this one though. Like if you want to take me, I would rather develop my queen there. But yeah, I might take this one eventually. I'll bring my rooks in first though. Rook e8, rook d8. Rooks to the middle. And he is going to capture. Rook b1. We'll probably bring that pawn up to b5. And the queen comes out. Damn. Good move. Brought the rook over, but we didn't consider the double attack that was possible. Well, the center pawn's the most important, so I think we're gonna have to defend that one. It's our, yeah, definitely the more important pawn. Okay, he's doubling up. I think this move makes a lot of sense. Now we can finish. We're bringing the rook to the middle. All right, we're about to need a plan here. We're getting to that point. A4. Annoying move. Looks like a capture. Whoa. He just goes right for the move c4. Interesting. I mean, I guess we're taking it. Okay, what are we doing? Lots of hanging pawns. Let's just offer a queen trade in the center. That looks easy. I guess save this pawn. You're not going to get much opposition from me here, bud. Take that and maybe offer a little trade ski here. Now that we're in an endgame, it's also time to activate our king. Let's not forget. Okay, on today's list of difficult moves, you will not find any of mine. Okay, well, we have a pawn that has nothing in front of it. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably start pushing this. I mean, yeah, it looks pretty reasonable. Okay, he's saying that this bishop is going to cover it, and that's that. If he's right, he's right. Okay. Bring our pieces in. Now, our king is not at all in the center, but that's because we spent like 4 moves doing this. He's brought his king to the middle. We'll see what decision was smarter. Okay, yeah, he's going like this. We know that this bishop can't move, basically, right? This bishop is completely tied down. So because the bishop is tied down, immediately it makes me think, wait a minute, like just a simple trade. You can't even trade with me. You know? The guy can't trade with me. We could win a pawn. Now, yes, this pawn's a goner, but I've already got one back for it. It feels like I can accomplish quite a bit just because we know that this bishop is tied down. Like, for example, here, I think we're just picking up this pawn. Yes, we lose this, but we did a lot of damage with this A pawn. And this is what I'm talking about. Bishop here. Dude, we've already discussed. I know that you can't move that bishop off that square. So you see how we haven't moved our king here, but it's because this pawn was threatening to queen, and he only had one piece that was there to do anything about it. So we're able to use our pieces really nicely there. And yeah, this guy won my A pawn. So he's going to take my pawn. And what am I going to take? Anybody? 2 center pawns, 1 F pawn, maybe a G pawn, maybe an H pawn as well. I'll take that trade. Yeah. I'll take every single pawn you own in exchange for my 1 A pawn. Come on here. All right, we're looking to hunt this pawn down. Just to complete the transaction. 1 A pawn for every single other pawn on the board. Okay, well, we did it. Someone please get the memo to the king that it's time to move. The battlefield is cleared. Start pushing these pawns here. Knight endgames are legitimately tricky, even ones like this. Or I should say, especially ones like this. Try to get the rest of our pawns up. Okay, knight into the middle certainly looks right. As long as we advance the pawns together, should be fine. Push, push, push. I mean, I have 3 connected pawns. As long as I'm pushing them up the board and they're all protecting each other, I mean, it's really impossible to make the wrong choice. Okay, good game. This was a funny example. We were just able to take every single pawn in sight. Remember, if you have a pawn outside like this, you know that like those 3 pieces are going to be able to get it, whereas your 3 are not going to be able to support it the same way. I hope that's clear. So when we move this pawn, we're not moving it with the intent to queen it. We're moving it with the intent to distract. If it was a different endgame and all my pieces were over here supporting it, maybe. But most of the time, if there's a lot of pawns on the board and you have something way on the outside, you're using it as a distraction. You really care about these ones. So the fact that I was able to get every single pawn in exchange for that one is like the absolute perfect example of a decoy. It's exactly what it's supposed to do. Thanks, Walsmo, for the 37 months with Prime, and Wolf Poker. Thank you for the 6, half a year with Prime. This guy sounds like a special forces officer. You know, this is like a code name. Blue Panda 1. Blue Panda 1. Blue Panda 1, come in. All right, Blue Panda 1. We have a tactical skirmish center field. Bishop out. Let's snork up here as usual. E6. Let's get the pawn in the middle. Remember, we're always like waiting for him to take us, basically. We want to get castled. Take that. Okay. Let's get castled. Damn it. And there I was thinking that we could just mate the guy. Unfortunate. All right, where can we put this queen? I guess we have to defend this pawn. It's a little bit kind of weird here. I don't really have a good square for this queen. I suppose this. So we can defend it and then move my queen again just to move this bishop. I mean, the whole thing is not very satisfying here. Let's bring the rook. He does the same. Move the queen because we're not doing anything without this bishop. Feels like we have a bad opening though. We spent so many moves. Yeah, take. Okay, bishop out, hitting the center, and then rook over. It's just taking me so long to get here. Okay. Let's bring the rook over. Blue Panda 1. Pretty strong game so far. All right, he's hitting our bishop. Let's see here. Bishop into the middle. Still feels like a pretty solid habit. Okay. It's back here. Got to save the bishop. Still want to hit the center, so I feel like g3 makes perfect sense. Remember, I'm always going to choose g3 instead of h2. Like, if I have a choice, it's always g3. Sometimes the bishop might end up there, but it's not how it's supposed to happen. Okay, rook e8. What can we do? Maybe double the rooks. Could be a good one. I feel like doubling the rooks is like a nice, safe option. Here we have a trade right there, and queen takes. I'm definitely feeling there's some kind of lineup here that looks pretty damn good. I don't really know what the best way to try to capitalize is, though. Because I'm not really seeing a nice continuation, sadly. So maybe it's actually just simpler than we think. I mean, it's still in a pin. At least I have a big threat here. Yeah, I was not really necessarily feeling c4 just because we get forked as well. Didn't seem so simple. But we're threatening c4 now, so at least we got a good threat going. Moves the queen. Yeah, we don't have c4 anymore, but we can still take. And we know that this should be good. 2 rooks for the queen. Question is, how do we play with the 2 rooks? Well, the first thing is that they almost always want to be doubled. So if you ever have the 2 rooks against the queen and you find yourself playing moves like this, like rook a8, and one rook's doing one thing, the other rook's doing another, you're already completely failing. So don't ever do stuff like that. This is what we're interested in. Then the next thing you're probably interested in is, let's just say, like, minimal weaknesses. So, for example, after move a4, I'm winning the d-pawn guaranteed. There's no shot I'm not winning the d-pawn. So I'm not in a particular rush to take it. I would literally play a3 here, because now I only have one weakness, and if it's just defended, I know for the rest of the game, I don't have to worry about a damn thing. Nothing. It's defended, and then that's defended, and that's defended. So it's impossible for anything to not be protected here. Queen there. Now I'll take. Sure. And now my rooks can kind of do whatever they want. Okay. Next. I definitely like g3. Feels pretty safe. Can hide my king in there. Also, the rook's defending this pawn. So if my king's hiding here, there's no checks anywhere. So let's go hide our king. Now, you probably noticed how important this rook is, which means it's up to the other rook to kind of make everything happen. Okay, definitely a good move, but still not a move that threatens anything that we need to be concerned about, right? this rook is just covering everything. I might give him a check and just kind of like see what he's up to. But again, I always know I can come back here to defend. This is a great example. Rook check and try and do something down here. It's not correct, right? The rooks should generally operate together. So we'll keep them together here. Just fishing around, see what he wants to do. He's going to play h6. Looks pretty nice. Let's give him a check. Again, this rook is covering everything, so just wondering what he's up to. The more trades we can get, the better. If we ever had a situation where we had pass pawn, we just put our rooks behind it, and it's impossible to stop. So let's see what we can do. The rooks can always protect one another. That's an important thing to remember. So, for example, like this, like they can always move. There's never a concern where the rooks aren't protected, which means that I can just shuffle my pieces nonstop here. Apart from actually coming up with a plan, I can also just shuffle my pieces, which is pretty nice feeling. Okay, so let's say go for an actual plan. I think we want to start moving this pawn, so let's see if we can do that. Well, we have two rooks, so let's go straight for it, and we'll make sure to connect them straight away. The benefit of two rooks is there's not a single pawn on the entire board that that you can't take. Goes queen there, crafty. Now we can't really move the rooks this way, so I mean, yeah, we'll probably just go right back, expect him to go there. And now we're getting to my favorite part of the rooks. The fact that as long as your king is safe, your rooks can pre-move like no tomorrow. Hey. Stop that. GG to Blue Panda 1. Now, I was building us up for a great finale there. You can ignore everything we said because you don't need to know anything about two rooks versus a queen. Matter of fact, I would say this guy knows a decent amount about queen versus rooks, to his credit. But the reason that the rooks always win is because of the end of the game. It's the pre-moves. The queen is impossible to pre-move against the rooks because, well, you saw what happened. He's a good pre-mover. He's fast, but it just doesn't matter. I can put my rooks anywhere, and they're always protected, and I'm always threatening something. Like the queen, the pawn, whatever. You don't know where I'm going to put the rook. You don't know when you're going to be attacked. There's no safe place for the queen. The rook is worth less than the queen, so if they're ever attacking each other, it's always a problem for him and not for me. So this is one of the main reasons that the rooks always beat the queen. It's because you just can't predict everything. Like, I could just move anywhere. I'm always threatening something. So annoying. It's so frustrating in a time scramble. So yeah, I was doing my best. I was trying to trade some pieces, but this guy just absolutely killed it. Right? I think he worked his queen really nicely. I'm impressed. But still, everything was defended for us. There was zero risk. And the time scramble should be so easy for the rooks. It's just unstoppable. So you always have this trump card that at the end of the game, you know that you have a win by flagging. It's just so easy to play with the rooks. Stack them together and then just move them up and down forever and ever. Throughout this whole series, by the way, I've done exactly that. So this isn't something we're just learning now. I may be pointing it out again more specifically, but we've done it every single time we've had the rooks. Wolf Poker, thanks for the 10 gifted subs. Now that's very kind of you. Thank you, Wolf Poker. $10 gifted subs. during the Habit series. Cheers, Wolf.